Welcome to Nexus. I'm Wanda Allen Abraha, the Director of the Human Relations Department. We are excited to have the opportunity to bring you today's program. The Human Relations Department enforces and encourages fair treatment and equal rights for the citizens of the City of Winston-Salem. The Human Relations Department has three key areas of responsibility. They are investigating housing discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, disability, family status, and gender, mediating landlord-tenant complaints, and conducting cultural diversity education and inclusion training and outreach. This television program is a part of our education and outreach efforts. All Nexus television programs feature community partners. During this episode, we will focus on Juneteenth with April Johnson and the World Relief Organization's local office with Jennifer Foy. Now, let's join Adolfo Briceño of our staff who will interview today's guests.
Well, thank you, Wanda, and thank you to all of you for being with us. As our first guest in this segment of Nexus, we have Jennifer Foy. She's the World Relief Director in Winston-Salem and High Point. Thank you very much for being with us, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what World Relief is and how long have you been here in the area?
Well, World Relief is a refugee resettlement program. We also do anti-human trafficking efforts. So we work with the federal government to resettle refugees in the Triad. So here in Winston-Salem, we've been here for about 6 years, but we've been in the Triad since the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And we resettle about 100 refugees here in Winston-Salem right now each year.
Each year? Mm-hmm. Where do they come from?
Historically, they've come from Burma or Myanmar. They are Karenni refugees, but that group is slowly, the camps are emptying out. And so now we're seeing Syrian refugees, Somali, Congolese, so a much wider variety and some really vibrant communities coming.
Wonderful. Now, give us an idea of what kind of growth in the refugee population Winston-Salem can expect in the future.
Right now, the federal government has allocated 100 per year. I would look in the next year or so to see that go to 150. Mm-hmm. And then after that, probably maybe an increase of 5 to 10% a year, so maybe another 10 to 15, so maybe to 160 the next year, but it's going to level out eventually, and it's all about what the community can absorb. Mm-hmm. So we have meetings with community stakeholders, and we talk about what services are available and what their capacity is before we decide whether we're going to accept more. So it's really a community decision, not just a World Relief or federal government decision.
Well, look at that. And what kind of parameters are taken into account to make these decisions?
Capacity of local doctors, of the health department, availability of good housing, the availability of quality jobs, and the ability for the refugees to become self-sustaining. So a lot of things just so you don't overwhelm a community. The nice thing about Winston is they have been overwhelmingly welcoming to the refugees, and World Relief actually moved into Winston-Salem because the community was asking for it. We had a large number of groups that come to us and say, please come bring refugees to Winston.
Are these groups churches?
So some of them are churches, some of them are civic groups, individuals, families, a lot of different groups, but primarily I'd say churches that wanted to have the opportunity to serve refugees.
Look at that. And what are their needs in refugees, and what can citizens do to help ease this transition?
The biggest thing a refugee needs is a friend, is an American person to come alongside them, not necessarily to give them things or to do things for them, but to walk that journey with them. It's a lonely thing to come to a country. You know, the federal government expects them that within 90 days of arriving in the United States that they've learned language, that they've gotten a job, and they can pay their own bills. So they've been picked up out of a camp and dropped somewhere in another country, and that's a large expectation. And while World Relief is there to help, and we help them with jobs, and we get them enrolled in ESL and different programs, really what helps the most is them having a friend, someone to practice their English with them, someone to show them how to go to the grocery store and spend their money wisely, a simple thing is knowing what a generic is. Generic products are unique to the United States. Most third world countries, most of the countries where refugees come from, there are no generic products. So an easy way that a citizen could come alongside of a refugee is to take them and teach them how to save money at the grocery store.
Well, that's interesting. Now, tell us a little bit the ways that the City of Winston-Salem is partnering with World Relief and how this partnership can and potentially evolve in the future.
It's been wonderful. So far, we've participated in the Building Integrated Communities. And so when the Transportation Committee was talking about bus routes and stuff, they involved us in that discussion and talked about where refugees were living and how the transportation system could assist them or work better for them. We're a part of the larger general meeting and talking about different ways in which refugees are being integrated into the community and how we can help them and how World Relief can help other immigrants also. So it's that give and take, that it's not just that World Relief is asking for things from the community, but what can we put back into the community as an asset.
Look at that. Jennifer, I'm pretty sure we can talk for hours and hours about refugees. Just give us a little bit of an example of what type of trials they have suffered back home and how you can see and some general recommendations that you can give to the public if they encounter a refugee. So first with the trials back home. Give an example.
Yeah. So a group that most people don't know is the Congolese. We see on the news, we see Syrian, we see Iraqi, but we don't see the Congolese. And their war is a very personal one. It's brothers against brothers. Think American Civil War. And it's a very hands-on and brutal war. So they've seen a lot of atrocities that were hand-to-hand combat. And it's a lot of single moms with children running from their homes and then living in camps for 6 to 10 years, waiting for a chance to start somewhere new. In that time, there's been very little opportunities for education. Many people are malnourished when they're in the refugee camps, and they don't have an option. A lot of people, when they leave their countries, any refugee, when they leave their countries, they've been tagged or identified by their government as a troublemaker, whether they were or not. And if they return, they're on a list to be killed or imprisoned immediately.
Wow.
So it's an opportunity coming here to start over, to feel safe and to be a new person, to start a new life.
I see. And the general message that you would have to the people that are watching about the refugee population, what would that be?
Would really get to know them. There's a lot of things you hear on the news, a lot of stories about different groups, about terrorism, about things. But really, if you get to know people, they're not scary people. They're amazing individuals with amazing stories. We've had engineers, we've had people from all different backgrounds come, and they come with beautiful stories, and they want friendship, and they want to give back to their community. They love to share food, they love to share culture and music, all those things that we love. So get to know them and have that exchange and see the other side of the world within your own community.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. This was Jennifer Foy. She's the World Relief Director in the Winston-Salem and High Point area. Thank you for your time, Jennifer. Thank you all for being with us. And we'll be right back with the next segment of Nexus.
In 2016, when you go to the polls,
bring your passion.
Bring your individuality.
Bring your wisdom.
And be sure to bring a photo ID.
You see, this election you'll be asked to show an acceptable photo ID at the polls.
The process is easy. When you go to the polls, simply bring your North Carolina driver's license or identification card, passport, military ID, Veterans Affairs card, or certain tribal IDs.
If you don't have an ID, or if you're unable to obtain one, there are still options for voting.
There are lots of acceptable IDs.
But only one you.
This election, be seen, be heard. If you don't have an ID, or if you're unable to obtain one, voting options are available. For more information on exceptions or for help getting a free ID, visit voterid.nc.gov or call 866-522-4723.
Well, thank you again for still here being with us. In our second segment of Nexus, we have April Johnson. She's a board member for the Triad Cultural Arts, and she's also in the planning department in the city of Winston-Salem. Thank you very much for being with us, April.
Thank you.
And we are going to be talking tonight about the upcoming Juneteenth Festival, correct? What can you tell us a little bit about the show? How did Juneteenth, for those who are not familiar with the Juneteenth history, can you do us a brief introduction of how Juneteenth originated?
Juneteenth originated on June 19th in 1865 in Galveston, Texas, when a Union soldier, General Granger, came to Galveston, Texas to inform the slaves there that the war was over and that they are now free. And mind you, this was 2.5 years after slaves were officially free. Mm-hmm. So the freed African Americans in Galveston, Texas began to celebrate and commemorate this day. And they did it every year, and it spread throughout Texas and then throughout other states in the United States.
Awesome. Now here we're going to have also our Juneteenth celebration. What can you tell us about that? How did the celebration begin here in Winston-Salem? Give us a brief outlook on that.
The Juneteenth celebration started in Winston-Salem in the early 1990s with the Mount Pleasant Baptist Church. They began to expand the celebration, and by 1998 they collaborated with the Winston Lake Family YMCA, and then by 2005 Triad Cultural Arts began to partner with the City of Winston-Salem's Parks and Recreation Department, Human Relations Department. They partnered with Food Lion, as well as Union Baptist Church to create this huge citywide celebration.
Wonderful. I've been to some of them. They are very, very nice. Now, in general, tell us what is the significance of what you believe is the importance and the significance of still celebrating Juneteenth.
I think the significance is just remembering and commemorating the end of slavery. One of the major significance of the Juneteenth celebration now being held at Biotech Place is that it was the site of the R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Warehouse District. And so in the middle of the district, that's where in Winston-Salem, a lot of African Americans worked. And so we're bringing that back to the Black community, to where they worked, where they lived, and had community. And celebrating Juneteenth is just bringing family together, food, celebrating our culture, and then just continuing to remember that slavery is over.
I see. We are a very diverse city here in Winston-Salem, Ms. Johnson. For those who are not African Americans, what is it for them, or why should they participate in this celebration? How would you invite them?
I would just invite them to explore and just participate in all cultures. I think that we are a pluralistic type of society. We are multicultural, and in order to help us to appreciate one another, we should learn more about other people's culture, their struggles and their triumphs. And Juneteenth is an excellent celebration in the city to learn about that, and to take joy in the celebration of other people's freedom.
Wonderful. Now, tell us a little bit what we are going to be seeing in this festival. Is there any upgrades, any changes from last year?
It's going to be the best weekend event of the year in Winston-Salem. We will have lots of performances. There will be reggae bands, Joe Robinson, we'll have jazz, we'll have gospel groups. People can learn African dance, so there will be African dance classes. And on a more serious note, there will be information about health and wellness. And there will be health displays. We will have an Ask the Doctor event, so people can come and have a one-on-one session with a doctor. There will be the Winston-Salem Health Mobile Unit will be there. So again, informing people about preventing illnesses and how to manage illnesses. We will have the Wells Fargo Pathways Financial Unit there. And people can learn more about finances and wealth management and things of that sort. So there will be fun, there will be arts and crafts, there will be history, lots of things for children and families to do. And we will have a forum on the Black family. So there will also be a forum where we will have discussions on and talk about issues and how to solve and create solutions to problems within the Black community.
Wonderful. Now, tell us, where is this event going to be, Ms. Johnson?
The event will be at Bailey Park and Biotech Place. So we will have inside events and activities, and we will have activities on the outside. So throughout the whole day, there will always be music and something going on both inside and outside. The location is at 575 North Patterson Avenue, and it will be held on Saturday, June 18th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free and open to the public. However, we will have a Juneteenth luncheon. The luncheon event will be Thursday, June 16th. It will be located at the Old Salem Visitor Center, and that will be at noon to 1:30. That event is a ticketed price event, $25 for adults, $20 for students and Friends of Salem.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Johnson. Well, you heard it, folks. This Saturday, June the 18th, correct?
Yes.
We will have the Juneteenth Festival. It's going to be in the new Innovation Quarter. It's pretty brand new, this building. There's going to be food, there's going to be music, there's going to be performances, there are going to be health units, correct, for check up your health. So please drop by and join us in this celebration of Juneteenth. And thank you, Ms. Johnson, for being with us. April Johnson, she's a board member for the Triad Cultural Arts. Thank you for being with us. And we are going right now to Jamie and the Nexus Challenge.
Thanks, Adolfo. I'm Jamie Waldeck, and this is the Nexus Challenge, where we test your knowledge about fair housing laws. Here's our first question. A family comes to your housing complex to see available apartments. Which apartments should they be shown? Is it A, apartments near the playground so the kids will have easy access to recreation? B, apartments near other families to ensure the children have playmates? C, apartments away from the pond on the property for the children's safety? Or D, all available units? The answer is D, show all available units. Even if well-meaning, landlords could be accused of discrimination based on family status if they push families with children to or away from certain areas within the complex. The Fair Housing Act prohibits steering, that is, encouraging or discouraging prospects to live in a particular part of the community because of their race, color, religion, national origin, sex, family status, or disability. Here's our next question. A female applicant discloses that she was evicted from a previous residence because of domestic disturbances and property damage caused by her ex-boyfriend. She says that she's no longer involved with him, but you're concerned that they may reconcile and cause similar problems at your community. How do you respond to the application? Do you A, reject her application, B, tell her she is on a wait list and you will get in touch with her, or C, accept her application? The answer is C, accept her application. HUD has said that domestic violence survivors may pursue a federal fair housing claim based on sex if they face housing discrimination because of their history or the acts of their abusers. Statistics show that women are overwhelmingly the victims of domestic violence. HUD reasoned that discrimination against domestic violence survivors is almost always discrimination against women. And here's our last question. Although a community has a no pets policy, a maintenance worker discovers that a resident has 2 dogs in her apartment. The resident is blind, and she states that the dogs are service animals and she needs them due to her disability. What may the landlord tell her? A, that she must remove the dogs because they are not allowed. B, that she may keep one of the dogs to accommodate her disability, but she may not keep a second dog. Or C, that he is willing to accommodate her need for both dogs if she can verify the need of 2 animals. The answer is C, verify that she needs both dogs. Although the community has a right to enforce its rules barring residents from having pets, it is unlawful to deny a resident's disability-related request for an assistance animal. Without more information and documentation, the landlord can't determine whether the resident needs both assistance animals. I'm Jamie Waldeck, and that's this month's Nexus Challenge. Now let's go back to Wanda.
Thank you, Jamie. Before we go, here's a look at some upcoming events. We hope you enjoyed the program. Thank you for watching Nexus. I'm Wanda Allen Abraha. See you next time.